So then we see also, while the monitors and the press are still in the room, they bring out the carriers, which are normal absentee ballot carriers. And I will admit, when I listened to the audio of the phone call and the president brought that up again, and I heard it on a radio ad again today, I wanted to scream. Well, I did scream at the computer, and I screamed in my car at the radio talking about this because this has been thoroughly debunked.
Power is literally in your hands. Unlike any time in my career, one state can chart the course, not just for the next 4 years, but for the next generation.
Each of you is going to vote in one of the most important runoff elections in the history of our country. Our country is depending on you. The whole world is watching the people of Georgia.
Gosh, I mean, Patricia, the dynamics are astounding to me as I listen to some of that sound, right? Gabe Sterling, this election official from Georgia, someone we would have never known had it not been for what took place in the state of Georgia and how the stakes were so high for the November elections there in that state and turning blue. Listening to the president and the president-elect campaigning last night, and then the voters that we heard from. Do you think all of these dynamics and the change in the landscape that we have seen in your state is what is driving folks to the polls more so than ever today?
Yes, and yes. We also have to put in there $800 million that have been spent in this state in the last 9 weeks to get voters back out to the polls, to push them, to persuade them, to convince them to get out for one side or the other. So this is a highly formed electorate. It's also a very sophisticated electorate. People know what's on the ballot today. They know that it's both these two Senate races, but also control of the U.S. Senate. They know that that also means that's going to affect how President-elect Biden's presidency goes, what he can do in his administration, how much leeway he'll have or how much obstruction he'll have. I hear that from voters all the time. They know why this is so important. The strangest and most difficult and most bizarre dynamic, even though these are two huge races and they would have been very high profile, the president's insistence on inserting himself every single day into the news cycle and blowing up the Republican Party here in Georgia at the same time has just made this such a dynamic, almost impossible to predict situation today. We do not know what's going to happen. I've never seen an election like this where it's just like flying in a snowstorm with no instruments. There's no indication of who's turning out, who's not going to turn out, and do voters even believe the results once they're in? So I think it will be a long night. It might be a long few days. And even after the votes are counted, we're going to wait to see who concedes these races, because the president has really changed politics and elections here in the state for some time.
You know, you bring up a really good point here. And we heard from the president last night, essentially waging war on the Republican Party inside the state of Georgia while campaigning on behalf of David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. What type of position does that put Perdue and Loeffler when you have the president attacking the Georgia Secretary of State and the Georgia governor, which he has done, honestly, for the last couple of months, but specifically last night in that he said, I'll see you back here in Georgia campaigning against these folks in just a year's time?
That's right. We have to look at what Kelly Loeffler was doing last night. She was next to the president. She had been appointed by Governor Brian Kemp, who's a Republican, appointed to her seat just last year. Governor Kemp could not be at that rally last night because he was not invited to that rally last night. And had he gone, the president probably would have attacked him verbally while he was there. And so it's created this very bizarre dynamic. It's all the same pot of Republican voters that all of these leaders are going after. Kelly Loeffler at the one time is saying, go vote in January's election, go vote tomorrow. By the way, I'm going to challenge the results of last month's elections. And so we know that she's going to challenge the Electoral College results. That will have to include Georgia's Electoral College results on Wednesday in the Senate. But it's just the tightrope that she's having to walk to win the Trump voters that she can't win without, and also to try and win this election, even when President Trump is attacking other Republicans in the state at the same time.
All right, Blaine Alexander, Shaq Brewster, Patricia Murphy, thank you all, guys. Appreciate it. We're certainly going to be watching there today. Hey
there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.